Alright, so I've seen a lot of people posting about gimbal issues like this. So now mine had the same problem and I was able to fix it, so I'm going to show you guys how to fix it. Alright, so basically after I crashed this thing, my horizon was off. So my camera would sit tilted down just a hair. So every time I would do a yaw turn, the gimbal would tilt like this every time. And what I found was this motor shaft was no longer properly indexed to the circuit board sensor. So it thought it was level when it was tilted down a hair. So I will show you how to fix that. One other little note. One thing I noticed with these gimbals is they're extremely temperamental, but they can be fixed. Usually if you crash and then your thing starts wigging out and twitching and something like that, it's usually because one of these motor shafts is either out of alignment, bent, or loose. So take your gimbal apart, check this one, make sure everything's tight, nothing's bent or cracked or loose, and that should resolve your issue. Because when I got this thing used, it would just flip like this all over the place and then turn off. So I took it apart and I was able to fix that. Alright, first you want to take this little plastic cover off. Covers your ribbon cable and the screws that hold the camera tray to the rest of the gimbal. Got one screw on the bottom, tiny Phillips. Get a magnetic screwdriver, it'll save your life. Another one. Ramekins work great for screws, by the way. Take that off. And if you see here, it's kind of hard to see, but you have a tiny little hole right here. That's for the set screw that holds this to the motor shaft. It's 180 degrees from the normal position. I don't really know if you can see that. Tiny little hole right there. First you want to take this screw. This will remove. That one actually has to come out. And that so you can remove the camera tray or cradle, whichever you want to call it. Flip it over and there's a tiny little clip. Just take a tiny little flathead and pull the black part up. That'll release your ribbon cable. Set that aside. Alright, next we're going to go with that set screw with a tiny little Allen wrench. Sorry, I don't know what size I'm working with here, but if you can't figure that out, you probably shouldn't try this. So we're going to crack that, back it off, you know, maybe one full turn. And that will loosen this shaft from the actual motor shaft. See, if you back that out too far, then this doesn't spin, not a big deal. Then you want to take your Phillips again. To remove this motor and PCB off of this arm, you've got 3 screws. One here. Let's see this. Too much going on. We got one there. Another one down here. The third one is actually in this hole. My last crash, I actually broke the thread lug. So I currently have 2 screws holding mine together. As you can see, I broke the threads off. Once those screws are out, you'll be able to separate this entire, basically from the gold piece back this way. This whole thing will come off this arm. Once you get that loose, you're going to pull the motor out. Now here's where you gotta be careful not to screw your ribbon cable up. You're gonna make a special tool. I use a paper clip. It's a little tiny hook on the end. And you're gonna go in this hole and you're gonna twist it, and that should release the ribbon cable. I know it's really not the best angle for you to see, but bam, just like that. So now when my last crash, I actually bent this arm pretty freaking badly. It was actually twisted right here, so my horizon was just, you know, off a little bit. Instead of sitting like this, it was just kind of tilted down a little bit. So I straightened that with a couple adjustable wrenches, and I'll insert a pic of that so you can see what that looks like. But basically, the rest of your issues are going to be with this motor right here. If you look, try to make it so you guys can see. If you look right here, you've got a flat spot on the actual metal shaft for the set screw which holds this on, and then you have a little flat index mark on the actual sensor of the circuit board. You can kind of see the two different colors of plastic right here. So what you want to do is make sure that those flat spots here and the flat spot there line up. You can actually see there's a tiny little hole right there too. So the flat spot of your motor shaft should be pointing exactly at that, if that makes sense. A degree or two off and your camera will still act a little funny. So the key is making sure that is perfectly indexed to the sensor, otherwise you're going to have issues. And that's pretty much the sole source of problems I've had with this gimbal at all, ever. Is usually either one of these is bent, or it's just got hit so hard that this little sleeve slips on the shaft. And then the computer thinks your horizon is 4 or 5 degrees off from where it actually is. And that will cause your tilt issue when you know, do any kind of yaw turn or anything. That's pretty much it. I mean, you can take this off if you need to, but kind of illustrates that a little bit better. You can see the flat spot there, and then there's a little clear or white plastic sleeve on there with a flat spot. As you can see, point of impact when I crashed last time there, dented that, effed my GoPro up pretty good. The little LCD screen doesn't work anymore, but if you use the app and just turn your Wi-Fi on with the button on the side, you can change all your settings and see your preview and all that from your iPhone app. So I think I'm just going to run it and not even buy a new LCD screen, because it's like $50.